So let's talk about liposuction, which requires surgery, versus CoolSculpting, which your nurses do, right?
Yeah.
What's the difference between those two?
So,
and when would it be applicable? Which one? When would you choose either one?
Well, there are a lot of factors, Kerry, that determine that, but in general, one is non-surgical and one is in the operating room. So it's a matter of degree. So if someone just has areas that they just want to contour, let's say it's in women, there are so many just genetically prone areas, outer thighs, around the umbilicus, love handles.
That's stomach.
Yeah. Inner thighs, upper arms, that just, no matter what they do, they come in and they're frustrated. They're starving themselves. They're working out. They're doing cardio. They're lifting weights, and they just can't get rid of these things. These are just genetically predetermined areas that were probably where their mom has fatty accumulations, where their grandmother had it, maybe. So if it's a matter of just a little contouring, then that's where CoolSculpting is sort of our first
Double
option.
chin would be a great one.
Double chin in a young patient, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you can go in and we have all these different little applicators that are made for different areas, and you can lay down on a table. We have 2 machines, so we can do both love handles at once or both hips at once, whatever it is you can watch. We have Netflix showing or whatever.
And you just lay there.
You just lay there.
And the machine, you put the machine on you?
Put the machine on you. It's like a suction cup.
So you don't need an attendant to stand there other than to check the machine every so often?
No, you can sit there and play on your phone or watch television.
Read a book. Does it hurt?
Nope, it doesn't hurt.
Why doesn't everybody do that?
Well, because some people aren't good candidates for it, right? So if someone comes in who really has either loose skin, so it's all the results of any of these body contouring procedures, CoolSculpting, liposuction, are all really dependent on skin elasticity. So if a girl, you can have 2 identical twins come in and one's had babies and she's got stretch marks on her stomach, excess fat, but the skin has a lot of stretch marks, it's loose, and you can't really, when you pinch it, it doesn't really just bounce back. Then that patient probably is not a good candidate for liposuction or CoolSculpting, because if you melt the fat underneath it, or if they lose weight, the skin doesn't just shrink up like you'd want it to if you were 16. It can hang worse. And so you can create a worse problem by not doing the right procedure on these patients.
Did you do a tummy tuck?
You do a tummy tuck on that patient, yeah.
Don't those leave big scars?
They do. But that's the only way you can get a flat tummy.
You just don't wear a bikini.
We design the scars such that they would fit. So when I'm doing tummy tucks, and I do a lot of those, I'll have the patients wear an undergarment or a bathing suit that shows me exactly what pattern they do, because it's not so much a factor nowadays. But back when French cut was in, that would totally change where the scar would be.
And the French cut's up over your hip for all you guys that don't know what a French cut is.
Yeah. So I'll have them wear that the morning of surgery, and I'll mark that with a little surgical marking pen. I'll mark the boundaries of that, and then I'll keep that scar within the boundaries of that. So they could wear that garment.
So how big is the scar? It's not very big then.
No, it's long. It goes really from hip to hip.
Oh, yeah. So this is when you have to be creative. This is artwork.
And
you got to pull it just right.
It's sculpting, yeah.
It's sculpting.
Really, yeah. But if that same patient came in, let's say her sister came in who had the same exact amount of fat, but the skin had never been stretched, no stretch marks, where you can hardly pinch it, between your fingers, it rebounds right back up there, then that patient would be a great candidate for either CoolSculpting or liposuction. So depending on how, like if they're going to sleep anyway for a facelift or for breast augmentation or a breast lift, whatever it is, then you're going to be asleep anyway. You would just do it while they're asleep. But if they're not going to sleep anyway, then and they don't really have a whole lot of fat, then if they're a good candidate for CoolSculpting, then you just CoolSculpt. So you lose with CoolSculpting, it freezes the fat. And so those fat cells that are frozen just die, and your body reabsorbs. As they die, they slowly die, and your body just reabsorbs it. So you can lose probably 30% of the area that you're interested in reducing with one treatment. So it requires, like if you've got a lot of fat there, it requires maybe several treatments.
And And then liposuction, you can just go take it all out.
Yeah, liposuction, you can take it all out in one setting.
And then you can do the tummy tuck at the same time.
You could if you wanted to, yeah. Yeah.
How many surgeries could you pile up on top of each other? Like, let's say I wanted to have a facelift, and then I wanted to have a tummy tuck, and then I wanted to have something else. How many hours would you do a long surgery?
That varies with surgeon, but my depending on the health of the patient, my limit is about 4.5 hours, because after that, the risk of anesthesia goes up, and you're under anesthesia the whole time. So for cosmetic surgery, just to look better, I can't justify any increased risk of keeping someone to sleep for longer than about 4 or 5 hours. Now, if it's a young, otherwise healthy patient, then that may be 5 hours, depending on what you're doing. But if it's an older patient who maybe has, is in their late 50s, 60s, you have to be a lot more careful. And we get medical clearance from their doctors if there's any question at all about it. So I will do as many things as I can do on that patient as long as they're only asleep about 4.5.
Well, I would get worried about you getting tired and not having starting off real fresh and then not having a good day at the end of the thing, being like, oh, my back hurts, I'm tired. Yeah, just cut that shorter and let's get out of here. I've
operated when I first went into practice doing birth deformity stuff and cancer reconstruction. We would operate for 15, 16 hours at a time.
I cannot imagine.
No, you take breaks. You take breaks and you get something to eat, or you use the bathroom. But it's amazing what you can do. And just like this interview, 8 hours later, you look back and you go, wow, it seems like we just started.
Yeah.
Because you're so involved in the thought process behind what you're doing, and time just flies. Yeah. You look up and it's been like, I do a facelift now. And it takes me probably 3 hours to do just an average type facelift. And it just seems like I just started.
If you like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking on the picture of Kerry's face in the center of the screen. For more of Kerry's interviews, click either video on the right of the screen. And as always, thank you for watching.